Welcome back. Well, if you've added a couple of corona comfort kilos of late, this next story may ease your concerns. Medical experts say the road ahead shouldn't just focus on your waistline.
For months, life in lockdown has been hard, with Australians coping any way they can. While many have embraced getting back to basics, others have found it harder to deal with.
All of the crisis call centres have reported huge increased rates in people calling in distress.
For many people, that's meant turning to food, but here's the good news. Dr Buchanan says that's okay and certainly not something we should stress about.
We know that there's some people turning to drugs and alcohol. Well, there's some people that simply aren't coping at all. So, yeah, eating for comfort is perfectly fine.
Experts say the world's perception of the perfect body and what being healthy looks like is coming at the cost of our mental health, and that impact could linger well beyond COVID-19.
Yeah, we have this idea of what's normal is to try and uphold a standard that none of us can uphold, and then we tend to berate ourselves and experience a lot of shame and criticism when we're not able to uphold that standard.
Dietitian Keyte Lane says it's simple. There's no such thing as good or bad food.
We're not bad people for eating certain foods, we're not good people for eating certain foods. So using moral words such as good and bad is just really unhelpful in allowing us to take care of ourselves.
The same can't be said for society standards. The advice is even the BMI benchmark is something we shouldn't be ruling our lives by.
I think it's far better off that we're looking at all of the measures, say for physical health, across what their bloods look like, how they feel day to day, all the way to what's their social life like, what's their emotional health like. So we need to look at health a lot more broadly, rather than just using this really simple measure of just weight and height to determine that.
So as gyms reopen and we're flooded with messages of getting back to our pre-COVID best, we're being urged to remember what matters most.
We don't need to come out of lockdown feeling like we need to race back into getting back to wherever we were prior to lockdown. Everybody probably needs a bit of a breather.
And that should be enough to lift a little weight off our shoulders at least. Holly Green for 10 News First.
Sounds good. Well, now Mike's back, all rugged up and keeping warm.
Yeah, thank you, Jen. Good evening. I was just thinking about being comfortable with corona kilos. Best story we've seen on the news tonight. OK, it was a cold morning. It'll be colder tomorrow morning. Over my shoulder, by the way, you can see the traffic streaming back into Melbourne after what's been a pretty good long weekend. A couple of photos now that have been sent to Mike's Pics at network10.com.au, and these are pretty good. Blue skies on a crisp winter's day, for example, captured beautifully by Ian. And the Rothbury paddle vessel is back in action on the mighty Murray up in Mildura. Thank you very much to Erin for letting us know. So 4 degrees was the overnight low, but it was a chilly old start to the day. That's how cold it is right now. 13 degrees the maximum. Outside right now, 10 degrees. The wind a light south-southwesterly. Around Melbourne today, have a look at some of those minimums, and that's why you thought, ooh, it's a little bit cold in the kitchen this morning, including -2 at Coldstream. Across our state, and public holiday today, so most of us could sleep in. -7 was the overnight low in the Alps. Widespread frost and fog, and that did disappear for a mainly sunny Monday. 15 the best on ground. That was at Cape Nelson, Aries Inlet, and also Albury. Around Australia, in the national capital, the temperature fell laughingly down to -4. They've got 0 there tonight. Sydney today, 18 degrees, a very pleasant 24 in Brisbane and also in Perth. Interstate tomorrow, over to Adelaide, it was 14 there today, 14 there again tomorrow, not quite as cold as it was this morning. Hobart, 14 the next couple of days, 11 degrees and wet on Thursday. Up in Sydney, 18 degrees, they've got rain tomorrow, about 8 millimetres of rain. Brisbane, 23, but very wet on Wednesday and Thursday and colder. Closer to home, we've got frost and fog and simply freezing conditions. The mercury falling below 0 in many centres. The grass underneath will be crunchy with a severe frost warning. And the kids whinging as they return to school unless they're really, really rugged up. It will be a fairly sunny day, except in the northwest where skies will be partly cloudy. Horsham tomorrow, -3 to 13. Wangaratta, -4 to 15. Across Melbourne, and the day will begin downright icy, below 0. Again in the Yarra Valley, plus this time at Mount Dandenong. The Yarra Valley, -1 to 15. Mount D, -1 to 10. At Frankston, 4 to 15. Geelong, just 2 to 14. And on the bays, we'll have northerly winds at 10 knots. Waves about a metre. The sun rising these days after 7:30. And now the forecast for our wonderful city by the bay. We've got a pretty cold start to the day, down to about 3 degrees with fog and frost to hide in. And once we shake off these icicles, a lovely sunny 15-degree day, and it won't be as cold tomorrow night. On to Wednesday, 7 to 16, mainly sunny, possibly some morning fogs and light winds. And Thursday, 6 to 15, partly cloudy with a footy at night. Friday, 6 to 16, and then we've got some showers on the weekend, 7 to 17 on Saturday, and then Sunday, 9 to 15 degrees. That is the weather, and no doubt we'll be rolling over and pressing that snooze button over and over again because we won't want to get out of bed because it'll be just too cold. But I'll see you tomorrow night, Jen.
Thank you, Mike. And that's 10 News First for this Monday. But for now, from the team, good night.